You're a liar. You're crazy. You're unhinged. You're deranged. You're jealous. Anything that's going to discourage people from listening to what you have to say. Hey, Survivor. Welcome to episode 138 of the Vibrant Survivor podcast. Have you been silenced, shamed, or publicly targeted for telling the truth about narcissistic abuse? We'll talk about how to identify the tactics, decide how to respond, not react, and protect your health and well-being. But first, let's self-regulate with a 4-4-8 breathing exercise, if you'd like. This time is for you. We'll inhale for 4, hold for 4, and exhale for 8. Ready? Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How does it feel in your body to take time to focus on yourself? Grab your notebook and pen, and let's dig in. Hey, Survivor. Welcome to the Vibrant Survivor podcast. Do you want to disconnect from a narcissistic or toxic situation and heal? Are you Googling how to identify a narcissist, narcissistic abuse, and boundaries? Are you feeling stressed and lonely while trying to avoid being sucked back in and lied to again? Hey, I'm Lesley. As a busy wife and mom, I fell for the lies and manipulations of narcissists. I wasted my time, talents, and money on users who kept moving the goalposts. I wanted real relationships and business opportunities and to enjoy life with my family. Instead, I struggled with anxiety, panic attacks, and insomnia, and I couldn't trust my body or anybody until I took a holistic approach to healing. In this podcast, you'll find tips for healthy living, trauma healing, and boundaries so that you'll have the freedom, confidence, and inner peace to respond, not react, after narcissistic abuse. Take a deep breath in, let it out slowly, and just relax. This time's for you. Being a truth teller can be a powerful thing, and it can come at a cost. I remember last year listening to Cat Williams' infamous interview on Club Shay Shay, which I talked about in episode 57, where he declared 2024 as the year of truth and exposure. And I was like, yes, I am here for it. And then a funny thing happened. 2025 rolled in and it was like, wait, hold up, watch this. And wow, what a wild ride it's been this year. I mean, we have seen all kinds of chaos, drama, exposure happening. We've seen the Diddy trial, the Epstein files being asked for, corruption at the highest levels, and all kinds of dark, evil stuff being brought to light. Seeing journalists get dragged into court, lawsuits, and all kinds of things. It's unbelievable. At the same time, it seems like a lot of people are waking up, and that is a beautiful thing. And that more people, even if they aren't the ones speaking truth or being the truth teller, they're rallying behind truth tellers and they're demanding that the truth be told. It can be really lonely and isolating and frustrating when you are a truth teller. It's hard just feeling silenced, bullied for telling the truth. And I've experienced this in family settings where I tried to speak up for myself at home and got shut down, bullied, yelled at, or just asking basic questions like, okay, why is no one talking about this? What's going on here in this pocket of the family with the dynamics? Like, what is happening here? And not being able to get a straight answer, or just being discouraged from asking questions, being shut down, being dismissed. In theory, it would seem like you should be able to talk about things and ask questions. These are your closest relationships. But even in advocacy work, trying to be a voice for the voiceless, speaking truth to power, it's hard when people don't want to hear it, and it just feels like what you're saying falls on deaf ears. I've seen leaders just completely disregard what's been said to them, not even attempt to learn more, make any changes, or just even flat out dismiss and smear advocates as being disruptive or troublemakers or rowdy. And it just feels so unfair because at the end of the day, people are hurting because of laws, systems, loopholes, leadership that's just failing on different levels. And then even in work environments, I remember speaking up for myself. I talked about this in a previous episode, speaking up for myself at work and feeling very alone, getting lashed out at, disrespected, dismissed, talked down to by a toxic boss. And I even had a coworker who heard the whole thing and just did not want to get involved. And I thought, oh, no, I can't do this. And, raising my concerns to a higher up, to a VP. And it all ended really well, and I was pleasantly surprised, but at the time I just felt very alone and unsupported. And for a trauma survivor, that can feel especially unsafe. It's like you've already been through enough, and then on top of that, no one's willing to back you up or have your back or whatever. It just feels very unsafe, very, very lonely. And that can be discouraging and depressing too. You may have experienced something similar where you maybe have gone through some kind of family situation where maybe you've been alienated from your family or you've had to self-isolate from your family for whatever reason because of toxic dynamics of a narcissistic family, or maybe you've gone through a legal battle like a child custody battle or a messy breakup or divorce, and that can be hard and it can be draining, exhausting. Or you're dealing with toxic dynamics in a narcissistic workplace. Maybe it's a safe haven and you're the truth teller and you're dealing with toxic dynamics on the job and you're the only one. You're kind of being treated as an outcast because of it, and maybe being bullied into silence or threatened to get you in line. And that can feel really unsafe and that can feel really scary. It's your livelihood. And you may have experienced online situations where you've got trolls in your comments or things of that nature, or maybe even dynamics where you're a public figure or you're dealing with family dynamics online. Either way, being a truth teller definitely makes you stand out in a world that is filled with a lot of darkness. Let's talk about why narcissistic and toxic individuals will try to silence you from telling the truth. At the end of the day, they crave control, and the truth often threatens their illusion. Underneath it all, there's a lot of hidden, undealt with shame, and even deeper than that, a lot of unmet fundamental needs. And your truth creates exposure, and that's the biggest fear of a narcissistic or toxic individual, is being exposed for who and how they are. And they fear that shift in perception from other people. And they tend to prioritize their reputation over reality. And they will protect their image at all costs. And we are seeing that play out right now, just even in society, with high-level, high-ranking leaders who are taking folks to task, taking them to court, and suing journalists for defamation and all kinds of things. It's a mess, and it's really sad, the lengths that people go to, or even harming people who threaten to expose them for who and what they are. Some of the tactics that may be deployed include smear campaigns. You're a liar. You're crazy. You're unhinged. You're deranged. You're jealous. Anything that's going to discourage people from listening to what you have to say. And sometimes when the stakes are higher, the worse the smearing is. And then they may use DARVO. That stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. So they'll deny or minimize the abuse that's taken place. They'll attack or lash out at you. And then they'll trade places. They'll go from aggressor to playing victim and make you out to be the aggressor. And especially in front of other people. They may threaten to take legal action, whether it's real or fake. I've been on the receiving end of this tactic where a narcissistic individual accused me of doing all these things that weren't true, and then at the end of it all was like, I guess we'll see each other in court. So it was kind of a passive-aggressive threat. They were more covert, and nothing ever came of it. I mean, because I had created that space from the toxicity, I was able to see clearly that it was just a shallow threat and that nothing was going to come of it. And sometimes it's real, but again, sometimes the point is not necessarily to win a court case. It's to wear you down or to exhaust your finances. And then they may further try to shut you down by saying things like, oh, you're just bitter, or why dig up the past, or what difference does it make? What does it matter? And make it seem like you're being petty, again, minimizing what has happened. So here's some red flags of silencing tactics to watch out for. One is being told that you're too much, that you're too sensitive, you're too dramatic, after you call out the abuse. And when you find that you're in a position of being a villain in a situation where you experienced it as a victim, not okay. That is a red flag. And then gaslighting. That didn't happen. I never said that. What are you talking about? And then you being blamed for any fallout from the situation. Also, people distancing themselves to avoid taking sides, even when it's clear that abuse has taken place. That is a red flag. And then any kind of public or private pressure to move on, let it go, get over it, drop it, red flag. So what do? One is protect your peace. Document, screenshot, save your receipts, set some digital and physical boundaries, create that space, especially when you're fresh on your healing journey. You may still be hypervigilant. You may still be just really dysregulated, like you're operating in a dysregulated body. You need that space so that you can focus on your healing. So boundaries will help with that. You may need to change your number, get off social media, or just even create physical distance. And if it's a relationship that's hard to get away from, limiting your exposure. Keep in mind that walking away isn't weakness. It's actually a strategic, self-respecting power move. Number 2, speak with strategy. Decide what, when, and how much you're going to share. And know that truth doesn't have to be reactive. And then don't try to explain yourself or explain a situation to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Share where it adds value as opposed to sucking the life out of you. Number 3, consider the role of legal action in the situation. Not all truth telling requires a courtroom situation or a courtroom setting. And you can revisit episode 137 for more on that. And sometimes peace is greater than proof. I'm not a lawyer. This is not legal advice, but you might want to consider seeking legal counsel only if the battle aligns with your healing. If it's going to be really disruptive to your healing, then you might want to consider taking a different approach. And you may need to kind of stay in the background and let someone else handle it for you. And that's okay. You're prioritizing your well-being. Number 4, remember they're being loud because they are losing control. So don't internalize the noise, like shut that out. You are not crazy, you're clear, and you're communicating or conveying truth. And know that others may not defend you, they may not have your back, and that doesn't mean that you are wrong in your truth telling. They may be uncomfortable, they may have some concerns or some fears. Cognitive dissonance is a real thing. Sometimes people just can't wrap their minds around the truth, and they haven't considered it and can't or won't for whatever reason. So there could be lots of factors involved there. Does not mean that you're wrong. I encourage you to keep showing up for yourself, keep standing firm in your truth, and at the same time to prioritize your health and well-being, because no one needs chronic stress. That's going to lead to a host of other illnesses and problems, and you don't want that. Your voice is needed and valid and valuable. So keep showing up for yourself and making sure that you're fit for the fight, because sometimes truth-telling is an uphill battle. So things like surrounding yourself with a great support system and tapping into the healing power of community, moving your body so that you can, keep the blood flowing, and training your mind through meditation, affirmations, and focusing, maybe talking through some of the things that you need to talk through, say in counseling or therapy or journaling, so that you have that reminder, that validation of knowing what you know. And then nourishing your body with healing foods, whole plant foods, and making that a priority, getting rest so that you can continue to show up for yourself and you can continue to advocate for truth. Here's a journal prompt that you can try if you'd like. Where have I silenced myself out of fear of backlash? And what would it look like to honor my truth wisely? And I invite you to DM or email me with your story or takeaway if you'd like, and share this episode with someone else who needs it. Remember, truth-telling isn't drama, it's part of the narcissist's karma. Thanks for tuning in, Survivor. You and your truth matter. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon. The fear is real when it comes to processing your experience. I know you feel stressed and exhausted with a pit in your stomach at the thought of being sucked back in and lied to again. You feel like a horrible person for going no or low contact, like maybe I'm the narcissist. The fear, self-blaming, and shaming is something we all go through as survivors. I want you to understand that you're not alone and you're not crazy. Every person who's ever been in a narcissistic relationship has felt what you're feeling right now. If this resonates with you and you're like, I'm done with fear, I'm done playing small, I know who I am, and I am not the narcissist, I want you to say yes. Today's the day. I want you to go right now to closeyourcoachingsession.com, and I want you to book your call, because we're going to do this together. I'm going to hold your hand, and we're going to overcome this fear so that you can begin a long-lasting journey of healing. Let's do this. If this podcast has helped you understand who and what you're dealing with, sharpen your discernment, and move forward on your healing journey, share it with another survivor. Help me help others by leaving a review for the show. And let's connect on social. Take a screenshot, share it in your IG stories, find and tag me at The Vibrant Survivor, and I'll share your post too. I look forward to connecting with you on IG and seeing you back here. You're not alone and you're not crazy. Know who you're dealing with, know who you are. Take care, and I'll meet you back here next week. Bye-bye.